Hi everyone, I'm Golda and I am the Library Sales and Marketing Director at Norton. Since I can't show you books in person at ALA Annual this summer, I'm doing some book videos to highlight recent and forthcoming titles that are suitable for schools and libraries. This video is all about books for children and teens, and then I'll do a separate video about our books for adults. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at www.nortonlibrary. We have a lot of digital review copies on Edelweiss and NetGalley, and you can also find a catalog of all our 2020 titles for kids and teens at bit.ly/NortonSLJPicks. I'm putting links to our catalogs and resources in the description for the video, and you are welcome to email me if you have any questions. I'm starting with books from our Norton Young Readers imprint. The first few titles are already available, and then I'll move into the not yet published titles. So I love this book, and I wish I could go through the entire interior of the old truck by Jarrett and Jerome Pumphrey. Jarrett and Jerome are brothers, and they worked together on both the text and the art. They were inspired by the strong women in their family and by all the old trucks that they have seen sitting in yards in their home state of Texas. They created over 250 stamps for the artwork in this book. And the story can be read on two levels. The text tells the story of the old truck observing the family, and it makes it sound like the truck is dreaming. But the pictures show you that it's the young girl dreaming of all the things she wants to do. When she gets older, she takes over the family farm, and she fixes up the old truck so it can have a new life. And I just love the startled chickens on this page, so I had to include this slide. And then you can see the tradition continuing with the now grown young woman and another little girl. The old truck has received a bunch of starred reviews, and I think this would be a good one to add to your own Voices displays or any displays of books by Black authors. Jarrett and Jerome are active on Instagram, and we have a read aloud video and a stamp making video on the Norton Young Readers YouTube channel, which I will link to in the notes. Women Win the Vote is out in time for the 100th anniversary of the passing of the 19th Amendment. Nancy Kennedy profiles 19 women with short biographies, and the pages are laid out almost in a magazine style with illustrations, sidebars, and photographs. Kennedy does not gloss over the racism and problematic ideas that some of the women had, but she keeps it age appropriate. Of course, there were more than 19 women involved in the suffrage movement, so the book includes a section at the back called "And Don't Forget," which has shorter biographies of more women and even some men who were important to the cause. And there's a section on famous sites to visit, photos of the banners they carried, a timeline, and a full list of sources. We have received positive reviews from Publishers Weekly, School Library Journal, Booklist, and Kirkus. I Go Quiet. This is another one where I wish I could take you through the whole book because I think it's just gorgeous. There are kids and probably adults in your life who need this book. It's for anyone who feels introverted or misunderstood, and for anyone who needs to understand their introverted kids or friends. David Wimay was inspired by his introverted and anxious daughter to write about a young girl struggling to make herself heard. She believes she is too insignificant and misunderstood to communicate with the people in her life. She turns to books to transport her to a place where she is connected to the world and where her words hold power. With the help of what she's learned from books and her imagination, the girl realizes that when she's ready to be heard, her voice will ring loud and true. Wimay's stirring and haunting illustrations capture how it feels to be a lonely, self-conscious child, unsure of how to claim a space in the world. David Wimay recently collaborated with several readers to create a read-aloud video using their voices. It's so beautiful, and I will link to it in the notes. Bright Storm by Vashti Hardy just came out in March in the US. It was published last year in the UK, and it has been praised by The Guardian and shortlisted for the 2019 Waterstones Children's Book Prize. This is a middle grade fantasy adventure novel with a sister and brother team that you will root for. Arthur was born without an arm, but Maudie is into engineering and she has made a prosthetic for him. When their father goes missing on an expedition, They team up with the female captain of an innovative airship to race to South Polaris. The book is propulsive and fast-paced while remaining playful. It has strong female characters, sentient animals, imagined technology, and would be great for readers of The Golden Compass, The Time Castaways, or the Polar Bear Explorers Club. And we just signed up the second book in this series for early next year. In 8 Princesses and a Magic Mirror, an enchantress sends her magic mirror out into the world, where it meets 8 different princesses in different regions and time periods who refuse to be just pretty, polite, and obedient. These are girls determined to do the rescuing themselves. Princess Layla of the desert protects her people from an evil king. Princess Tika takes a crocodile for a pet. Princess Abayome puts empathy and kindness above being royal. And in a tower block, a young girl named Princess saves her community's beloved garden from the hands of urban developers. These stories have the feeling of a familiar fairy tale, but with a contemporary spin. And it just got a starred review from Kirkus. The Super Miraculous Journey of Freddie Yates is a debut middle grade novel by Jenny Pearson. It's sweet and funny with a lot of misadventures and a lot of heart. After Freddie's beloved grandmother dies, he is left with only his accident-prone stepdad. He loves his stepfather, but he realizes that he needs more family. His grandmother left him a note telling him the name of his biological father, so Freddie decides to get his 2 best friends, and they'll just head to Wales to find his father over the weekend, and nobody will notice they're gone, right? As the road trip gets out of hand, and the boys unwittingly set off a chain of hilariously unlikely events, Freddie discovers that some things can't be explained, and sometimes what you're looking for has been with you the whole time. Play Outside has a backyard exploration and scavenger hunt feeling. Each page spread is arranged by region, so every animal on that spread lives in that region. At the back of the book, there are pages which identify each of the animals, telling where they live and what their status is on the endangered species list. School Library Journal just gave it a starred review, which said, "This imaginative story is highly recommended for purchase. It promotes education about endangered species and includes an abundant message of hope." Weird, Wild, Amazing is the first children's book by the Australian biologist Tim Flannery. He offers in-depth and often bizarre facts on animals that live in each habitat, while incorporating concepts of climate change, evolution, conservation, and taxonomy. Did you know that lions once roamed North America? Or ever wondered how the sloth got its name? Have you ever heard a piranha bark? Packed with vibrant illustrations and guided by real-life experience, Weird, Wild, Amazing uses Flannery's mix of humor and wisdom to teach readers to cherish our planet's environment. Norton Young Readers published Mr. Nogginbody Gets a Hammer last fall, where the naive, ovoid hero of the story learned that you can't use the same tool to fix all your problems. The second book, Mr. Nogginbody and the Childish Child, is coming out at the end of August. In this one, Mr. Nogginbody is babysitting, and he should not be babysitting. David's usual sense of childish fun and humor is on full display here, and the hammer even makes a cameo appearance. He also makes great use of the page edges in his illustrations. You should check out David Shannon on Instagram at KnowDavid2018, where he's been doing read-alouds of his books, and he also gives a little extra info on the backstory and the illustrations. Katie Yamasaki is an artist and a former teacher, and she has worked with people of all ages for years to help them tell their stories through murals. Her new book, written with Ian Lendler, Everything Naomi Loved, was inspired by a street in Brooklyn, though the city is not specified in the book. Naomi loves her friends and neighbors on her street and is worried when things start to change and people start moving away. Her neighbor, Mr. Ray, tells her about using art to remember the things we love, and Naomi paints a big mural of all her favorite things about the neighborhood as a way to honor it. So this has themes of resilience and caring for the community, and it is a good book for kids dealing with change, whether it's gentrification in their neighborhood or the more universal change of friends moving away. We have a video introduction to the book on the Norton Young Readers YouTube channel, which I will link in the description. And I would also recommend checking out Katie's website, where you can learn more about her work at katieyamasaki.com. Every Night is Pizza Night is by the chef and author of The Food Lab, Kenji Lopez-Alt, and illustrated by Gianna Ruggiero. Young Pippo thinks that pizza is the best food, and there's no reason to eat anything else. She has even conducted experiments to prove it. Pippo's parents beg her to try other foods, but she will not be swayed until her mother asks how she can really know if pizza is the best when she won't try anything else. This sets Pippo off on a trip around the neighborhood, cooking with friends and their families, and trying all sorts of dishes. And eventually she realizes that there are a lot of different kinds of best foods. And at the back of the book, we have a kid-friendly pizza recipe from Kenji. What a Lucky Day is a debut picture book by Jashar Awan, which looks at prejudice and stereotypes in a gentle manner. Stork is going fishing, but he runs across a black cat. Oh no, bad luck. He won't catch any fish now. The raccoon sees a frog on the pier. Oh no, he's gonna get warts. But when all four animals come together and talk to each other, as this gentle, funny, and thoroughly satisfying picture book makes clear, they see that it's a mistake to judge others too quickly. And at the back of the book, we have a couple pages explaining some of the origins of the stereotypes. Moving over to YA fiction, Bearmouth is a darkly atmospheric debut novel about justice, independence, and resistance. The narrator, Newt, is learning how to read and write, so the book is written with a distinctive idiosyncratic style that takes a minute to get used to, but once you get into it, you don't have any trouble understanding. It's also interesting to see how the spelling and grammar changes as the book goes on, because Newt is learning more. Life in the mine called Bearmouth is one of hard labor and isolation. The sunlit world far above the mine, a distant memory. Newt has lived there since the age of 4 and accepts everything from the harsh working conditions to the brutality of the mine's leaders until the mysterious Devlin arrives and dares to ask the question, why? As tensions rise, Newt is soon looking at Bearmouth with a fresh perspective, challenging the system and setting in motion a chain of events that could destroy their entire world. We have arcs of this on Edelweiss and NetGalley, and it just received a starred review from Kirkus. So Norton also distributes Tilbury House, which is an independent publisher based in Maine. They do a lot of picture books and some middle grade. They have many titles on nature and science and several picture books that feature social emotional learning. Magnificent Homespun Brown is a celebration of brown skin. The young girl narrator poetically compares the color of her skin to things seen in the natural world, and she talks about enjoying time with her family. The language is full of imagery and combines with the illustrations to create a declaration of self-love and an offering of gratitude for the community who celebrates who they are. The author, Samara Cole Doyon, is both a second-generation Haitian American and a deeply rooted Mainer. Kaylani Juanita is the illustrator of several picture books, including the critically acclaimed When Aiden Became a Brother. Jacqueline Whitson thinks it's absolutely lovely, and this lovely book has received starred reviews from School Library Journal, Publishers Weekly, and Kirkus. The Arabic Quilt is a story of a young girl missing her old home in Egypt, but desperate to fit in at her new school. She's embarrassed when her mom brings her forgotten lunch to school and calls her Habibi. The other kids tease Kanzi about the forgotten word, and when the teacher sees that Kanzi is upset, the teacher is inspired to have Kanzi's mother help the class make a quilt with their names written in Arabic as a way to teach them that other languages and cultures are beautiful and valid. The back of the book has a glossary of common Arabic words and an Arabic alphabet. This is the fourth and last book in the Acadia Files series. This series is for ages 8 and up, and it features a girl named Acadia who likes to do science experiments to figure out the world around her. There are a lot of illustrations in each book, pages from Acadia's notebooks, new words she has learned, and explanations of the experiments. Each book has a seasonal theme. It started with summer, then went to fall, winter, and now spring. Crying is Like the Rain is about how to handle emotions, and it uses the metaphor of the weather to explain how emotions can move through you, and often you'll feel better after you let them out. I'll Be the Water is about grief and loss, and it totally makes me cry whenever I try to explain it, so you'll have to look that one up. I Am Darn Tough features a girl running a race, and she has to use all of her perseverance and resilience to make it through the race. Calvin Gets the Last Word is a fun book about words that is narrated by a dictionary. It also has a cute story with these two brothers who like to prank each other, but not in a mean-spirited way. We also distribute Thames and Hudson USA, who has a wide range of books for children, mostly coming from the UK and Europe. The Big Book of Blooms is the 5th book in the Big Book of series by Yuval Zamir. Each oversized book features fully illustrated pages with all sorts of facts, and there's a search and find game embedded in the illustrations. The other books in this series are the Big Book of Bugs, Big Book of Beasts, Big Book of Birds, and the Big Book of the Blue, which is about water animals. Maisie Mammoths Memoirs is a follow-up to Tony T. Rex's family album, which was named a Best Book of the Year by Parents Magazine. Maisie the Mammoth narrates this story about all sorts of prehistoric animals, and each page also includes facts about that animal. There are also some more general and sometimes funny facts about the time period, and a list of Ice Age words at the end. Goddesses and Heroines is folklore and mythology that goes beyond the usual Greek and Roman goddesses. There are legends from all over the world, and it's fully illustrated. Marvelous Magicians is perfect for those kids who are obsessed with magic. It includes short biographies of famous magicians, what you need in your magic toolbox, what magic is like today, and how to become a magician. If I Had a Unicorn is from the same team that did If I Had a Dinosaur and If I Had a Sleepy Sloth. It's the same little girl in each book imagining what it would be like to have these pets. In this one, there are lots of bright colors, rainbows, and even some mishaps with the unicorn. Keep an Eye on Ivy is silly and funny. I can see this being good for story time. The sample pages that you'll see on the screen are in French, but the book will be in English. This little boy gets a plant and asks his family members to help take care of it when he goes to school. Every day he comes home and the family member that was helping with the plant is missing. By the end of the week, the plant has gotten bigger, but his family is nowhere to be seen. So I think you know where this is going. The plant has eaten the family, but they're okay, and they get spit out covered in green slime. So it's almost like a kid-friendly version of The Little Shop of Horrors. You might find yourself. I'm not going to say this is the next Oh, the Places You'll Go, but it has that kind of feeling. It's about the various possibilities that you might find as you go through life, and it has this really lovely mixed media collage art with ceramic tiles and painting. I wonder if this could be used as inspiration for kids to make their own collages, either at story time or at home. Make Yourself at Home takes you through 10 types of homes spread across a variety of countries and distinct types of living spaces. There are homes in China, Tunisia, Canada, the UK, Mongolia, the USA, and more. Each spread has facts and anecdotes about the home and how homes are adapted to their surroundings. Thames and Hudson publishes the Big Idea series, which now has 12 books on different topics. The books are aimed at the high school level and up, and they are a great introduction to each topic. And finally, Norton has just started distributing Abbeville Press, and they have 3 new books for kids coming out this fall. First up is the Flip and Flop series, which started with Fliposaurus and Mix-a-Mutt. Now they're doing a Flip-a-Feather, where you can move the panels around to create fun combinations of birds. On the back of the panels, there are facts about the birds. So in addition to having fun mixing up the birds, you can learn something. And these are made out of a sturdy cardboard, almost like a board book, so they don't get damaged too easily. They also have a soccer series. Here's the 3rd edition of Stars of World Soccer, featuring men's players with lots of photographs. And next year, they're publishing a book on the women's players. And to go even deeper into soccer, here's Messi versus Ronaldo, which really drills down into the careers of the two players, comparing their stats, their awards, pretty much anything a soccer fan would be interested. And again, there are a lot of photographs. So that was a lot of books. I didn't even cover all of our forthcoming titles, but I am putting links to the catalogs in the notes so you can see more information about each title, including sample illustrations and reviews. And again, we have digital review copies available to request for librarians, booksellers, and teachers on Edelweiss and NetGalley. And please email me if you have any questions. Watch out for another video later this year where I'll talk about our books that are being published in early 2020. And you can also email me to sign up for my newsletter, which goes out about 4 times a year. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you're all staying well and dealing with the weird times that we are in. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.